Peace and blessings, Pokemon, animals, and humans. How are you doing today? It's me, Mike Can, aka Rogue Spiritual, and we're back with another episode of Skullie Chronicles. So I address it all to God. And the reason why I keep bringing up high school issues or whatever, because one, it's real, and two, I was one of the reasons I was put here is to guide the next generation to the light at the end of the tunnel, in spite of the 4 years of indoctrination and dealing with the mean girls and everything in between. And that's the reason why I keep bringing up high school, because prayer helps. You may not be able to get that nigga or that bitch or that person at the moment, but fuck around, 15 years later, you could knock their ass out. Especially for all the dumb shit they be doing to you, possibly yours, this and that. You know? And you know what's so crazy about the Mean Girls? Because I'm not gonna go with the gang. I'm not gonna go with the street movies. I'm gonna go with the Disney film. Okay. Um. First off, I swear I was living in a Disney film because I didn't go to one of the worst high schools in history. I went to a decent high school that had uniform, this and that, and there was street kids there, you know, but the ones going to the bad high schools are more for the generation before me, which is my mother and my two uncles that went to Walton or whatever the case is in the area that I briefly grew up at. But I went to BLA and I'm part of the class of '07. So the Mean Girls, 85 to 90% of the Mean Girls curse themselves out. I mean, seriously, you seen everybody in designer. 85 to 90% of these niggas are in designer, whether in uniform or no uniform. And you gotta think. You gotta think because within the few mixes there's few street kids. You gotta think where they're getting their money from. I'll answer that for you. They're getting their shit from their mommy and daddy. Because 85 to 90% of these niggas that wear designer all flossy throughout the 4 years, flossy throughout the season and shit like that, they getting their shit through their mommy and daddy. They wasn't in the field like that. They was not that that had to be independent. There was not you that chose to work. There was not you that was finding your way for real and getting money on your own. There was not you about it. In fact, like I said, they was getting shit from their mommy and daddy. They're a whole bunch of brats. Hell, even some mafia brats. Because if they wasn't getting shit from mommy and daddy, they was also living off their mommy and daddy's name. I dealt with that. I dealt with a mafia brat on the block that I grew up on. And God spun the block, as he always did, as he always will, in the present and in the future. So, like I said before, I keep repeating, but 85 to 90% of the mean girls are just a whole bunch of house niggas that curse themselves out. They get their shit from mommy and daddy. They was not in the field like that. There was not you having to work. There was not you learning some values, some core values. It don't matter what your occupation was. You can fuck around and work at McDonald's. You could fuck with sell crack cocaine or work with the youth or whatever the case is, or even like it don't even matter what your occupation was, but there was not you about it. There was not you about it. Again, there was just a whole bunch of house niggas that cursed themselves out, and they was mad at you because you was the one grateful with the Smith's boots or the lugs or any bum wear that they would consider a bum wear. Emphasis on bum. Okay? Now the 10 to 15% were actually street kids. The 10 to 15% in my school were actually street kids that was out there on a whole mission, out there hitting the strip, out there getting a job, you know? And when it comes to me, that 15% eventually left me alone. In fact, they just let me do my thing or whatever the case is. And half of them just prayed for me to survive the 4 years of indoctrination or whatever the case is, because literally those mean girls were a whole bunch of house niggas attracted to you. Those mean girls were a whole bunch of house niggas attracted to you. Talking about myself. And now I'm talking about you. Those mean girls are most likely attracted to you. Okay? They don't know what it is to get on their own. They don't know what it is to lose it all. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it is to be young, wild, and on a death wish, because the devil always knows when to say shit. And sometimes the devil is the Catholic lie. The devil always knows when to say shit. That's not even a secret to their evolution. It's just the devil sometimes is an adulted ass kid. They know when to say shit, how to say shit, where to say shit. And the devil act like they know it all. Until you show the devil that, hey, I've been around too. I'm not these niggas you comment on. In fact, you curse yourself out. Now, the other half to this blog is the fact that this goes to the LGBT. Thanks to Hope Gisele, thanks to Kandie, thanks to the LGBT artists that are activists, thanks to the bloggers and T.S. Madison, our LGBT youth is able to say shit and is able to say certain things a little more early. They're able to say that they're trans or gay or LGBT members earlier, instead of my generation having to spell it or grow into it as we, and to the what is it, to the angry old farts. Our hearts and minds beat the same. It don't matter what, I don't care if you're a Stonewall baby. Our hearts and minds beat the same, because our LGBT youth is still going through the same shit we going through. Or, even to this day, dealing with the mean girls, having to keep her head on a swivel due to the mean girls, the homophobes, the trade, and the bangers in between. So miss me with that. It doesn't matter the generation. It's just the fact that Bugz Gutta, Kandie, Hope Gisele, T.S. Madison, Aokilee made it accessible. They educated me on pronouns in the trans community and everything else in between. They even educated me about ballroom. And I was talking to them or whatever the case is. I briefly spoke to them when I was in the mix of the out rap industry, but it was just brief conversations. Now, I'll be watching their posts. I'll be sharing their posts, sharing their music, whatever the case is. I'm learning about ballroom. I'm learning about pronouns. I'm learning about this. I'm learning about that. And I praise Jesus for our youth, because our youth is able to say those things a little more earlier now. They don't have to wait so long to say it, or they don't even have to spell it so much. When it came to me, I didn't know how to say gay. I didn't know how to say queer. I didn't know how to say three-spirited. I spelled it. All I did was spell it until I was able to say it now. It's so real. I always spelled it in my raps because I didn't know what the fuck I was saying. I just knew that I was three-spirited. I'm a boy, I'm a girl, and I'm a person. Niggas know my body. Back when I was 23 years old or whatever the case is, it just happens to be when I was in the shelter, I tried cross-dressing. And I responded. I didn't reject it or whatever the case is. That was it. So that's what I'm saying, the difference between people like me and the younger generation. The younger generation, the younger LGBT, the LGBT youth is able to say and do those things earlier because there's more information out there. And again, to the Stonewall kids, our hearts and minds beat the same. For we all dealt and still deal with the mean girls. Even when we go, especially when we go to work, go to the workforce or do what the fuck we gotta do. We always dealing with the mean girls, bitch. How many times did I have to announce that I was gay in every new job sitting until I just stopped announcing it? And when I stopped announcing it, niggas started to harass me as if they had a crush on me, as if they wanted to say something, as if they were spooking some shit, but they wasn't spooking nothing at all. I ain't got nothing to hide. Nigga, I'm 36. Fuck you mean? And that's what I mean about our hearts and minds being the same. Why I think I'm working the DoorDash now? I ain't trying to go back to the workforce like that and get harassed by some niggas that act like fifth graders and shit like that. But if I need to go back to security, I will. I always have a plan B at my disposal. But that's one of the reasons why I left my last security job at the same time. First of all, my contract was really talking reckless. He expected me to be some statue at Whole Foods or whatever the case is, where security and the security guards domain, you gotta move around and check shit. He expected me to be a statue, and I basically clapped back. He didn't like it. He called the supervisor, and I got banned from like 2 stores, maybe 3 stores throughout the city. Number two, this co-worker who's lost prevention, which I probably see him in Harlem every time I dash, he was like, awesome fifth grader shit. Hey yo, hey, like, do you have a crush on me? Like, for real. Do you got cigarettes? I say no. You know? And if I did give him a cigarette, it's for him to leave me the fuck alone and buzz off. But most of the time I said no, it's for me. Because the cigarettes I was smoking, it's not the cigarettes he's into. So it's better for me anyway. There. Our hearts and minds beat the same. I think the last time I came out in the workforce was at my first security job. I know after Dwayne Reed, I came out in Dwayne Reed. Then I came out again in my first security job, which was damn near 15 years ago. And then as time progressed, I just stopped coming out. I had no need to. I didn't want to come out in every time in the workforce. Cause there was no need to. I have nothing to hide. It was just there was no need to. You're not here to know my business. You're here to know my performance. This is what we're here to do: work, perform, perform to the best of our abilities. You know, and you know what? That is so 1995. It To this day, the way niggas is clocking who's gay, who's straight, who's bi, who's trans, mind your fucking business. We are entering 2024 next month. Actually, in a few weeks, bro. And you're still clocking about who's gay and this and that. Nigga, focus on what's in your cup instead of somebody else's tea. You need some juice in your life. That's all I gotta say. Thank you.